Welcome, Myron, to Champagne and Conversations. I was
Thank you.
enjoying
Thank
your
you.
music. You sound smiling. I was
All
enjoying
right.
that.
I like that. I like to
I
bring
was
smiles to
enjoying
people's
that.
faces.
Yes, and that was on Broadway. So, ladies and gentlemen, for a moment, we were headed to Broadway with Mr. Myron Glasper. Thank you so much, sir. Cheers to
You're
you.
welcome. Cheers
Yes.
to you. Thanks for having me. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Absolutely. The ever
Oh.
so talented Myron Glasper has joined us this evening, and we do appreciate you guys for joining us as well. And we plan to have a great evening. We were actually spending some behind the scenes time talking about all of the projects that he has coming on and learning a little bit more about the album and so on and so forth. So we are going to share all that amazing information with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining Champagne and Conversations. Hello.
Yes. I am
Yes.
happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So please introduce yourselves to everyone.
Well, my name is Myron Glasper. I am from Los Angeles, California. I sound like I'm on a game show. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer. Wait, dancer first, singer, songwriter, producer, and musician.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been doing music for quite some time now. And the
Yes.
cool part about it is the travels is what I embrace the most. It's what I enjoy the most, the traveling.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and so
So,
I've been
traveling
around.
where? What do you enjoy most about? Where have you gone that you enjoy?
Well, I think it's been about 20 or so countries. Um, I can never call them all off, but like Europe, Australia, Japan, Russia, New Zealand, and then throughout like Switzerland, Austria, just the UK, and then different cities throughout those different countries.
Sure.
I used to tour with a hip hop rap band called Black Alicious, and
Okay.
that's when it all started for me. I was a background singer, and one of the guys just passed away, so
Oh, sorry to
God
hear
rest his
that.
soul.
Okay. Who
Yeah.
else was in that band? What you said it was called Blacklicious?
Black Alicious, there were two guys. Chief XL was the DJ producer, and Gift the Gab was the rapper.
Okay.
And they had a song that kind of rejuvenated their career. Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter, yeah, Harry Potter, did one of their songs,
Right.
excuse me, on one of the Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon, one of those Jimmys. And it's called
Okay.
Alphabet Aerobics. And he goes from A to Z, and he goes slow and he goes really fast, and people loved it. So once Daniel Radcliffe did it, it kind of rekindled they were already in motion, but it took it
Nice.
to another level. And then
Okay.
YouTube used their song for the 10-year anniversary.
Okay. And that was the
Mhm.
first group that you were with.
Yeah, but I was only like a hired background singer, dancer, but I had so much fun. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
man.
cool. And not only did you have fun there, but I'm certain that you had fun as you were dancing. We actually posted a clip of one of my favorite shows from our days, our golden era, in Living Color, and you were a dancer there. So let's talk about that for a moment while we're diving deep into the
Okay.
start of your career. So how was
Okay.
that in Living Color?
Oh, it was quite surreal. I used to go to a all boys high school in Watts, Bourbon Day High School.
Okay.
And there was a high school, Locke High School, not far away. Well, there was a group of dancers there. They were called the Nutty Boys at first, and then they were called Heart and Soul.
Hmm.
Two of those guys ended up with Bobby Brown by way of Rosie Perez. So, and then another guy was doing the choreography for the Fly Girls on In Living Color. So fast forward, he calls me, Arthur is his name. Arthur says, "Hey man, come on down and they want somebody to look homeless and dirty. They're gonna put dirty makeup on you, blah, blah, blah." Because I had like little lock twists at the time.
Uh-huh.
And so I jumped on the bus and I was just like, man, I'm gonna be on TV, right?
Mama, I made it.
I had my little backpack. And so I did it. And it was such an
Did it.
easy journey
Uh-huh.
because the people that I knew, you
So
know.
fun.
So thanks to Rosie Perez and Arthur Rayner for that call.
All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Now, had
yeah.
you done any dancing before that? Any auditions with anyone that, oh, wow, you
I
just
was
learned to get the call.
I I was always dancing, but
Uh-huh.
never interested in the big stage. I was more so interested in sports.
No,
Football was
okay.
my thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
was my thing.
And were you playing at this time or you had kind of stepped away from it to dance?
So football, sorry, I left out track and field. I was running track at a junior college, and for some reason this guy was like, "Hey man, join my boy band." I was like, "Man, get out of here. I'm trying to get this scholarship, right?"
Right?
Well, I got into an accident when I was 18 and busted up my ankle. So I kind of stepped away from that, and we started singing. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I can sing a little bit." A couple of years after that, but there were no auditions, no aspirations to become a dancer. I just kind of did the freestyle thing, best dancer in the class, sort of thing. But not really interested in doing it for a living because, like I said, football was on my mind.
You're fine. Yeah,
Yep,
how
yep.
about it? And then still here you are, even after that, with dancing, something that wasn't even on your mind.
Hmm.
Was there a favorite dance that you had back then?
Oh man, so many.
So
I think
many.
the skate was probably the skate, or maybe. mm, Freddy Krueger, maybe. I think I like the Freddy Krueger too, but it wasn't much to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't recall the Freddy Krueger.
It was like,
What was it? Oh, that was some of
but your
you
leg,
choreographed.
but your legs go up in the air too.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
that
one
was
leg,
something.
like.
That was something you guys choreographed because that certainly wasn't something we was doing on the dance floor.
Well, I mean, we used to go to these dances where there were like people competing on the
Yes.
dance floor.
Okay. See,
Like
that makes sense.
it was full on. I was in a little dance group, but we didn't really go anywhere like these other guys.
And who did
But
you compete against?
we I think it was like GTI,
And that
Soul
was Pharcyde
Brothers.
before it was
Uh-huh.
Pharcyde. Okay. All right.
Soul Brothers. That was Craig. Um, Posers. There was a group called the Sex Jerks. Um, oh, it was so many, and I just can't recall right now. But you know the scene. You just called it out. You
Yes.
know.
And so you guys got together what, like on weekends, and you had competitions. Obviously, there were certain clubs that you were in California, yes, that you all
you
were
know what's
competing
you know what's interesting? Because I was so interested in sports, dancing was just like a side thing I did with guys
in.
in
Uh-huh.
high school.
Uh-huh.
And we were decent, not as good as these other guys because they were really practicing. You know, they
Yeah.
were, I mean, I saw one guy doing the splits and I used to tumble, but I never thought about incorporating tumbling in the routines. We were just trying to look cute for the girls with our little
Ah,
high top fade
yeah.
and our little, you know what I'm saying? But other than that,
Not,
I was
not
trying,
that whatever it was. What was that? The
yeah,
Cabbage Patch?
to the, I mean, it could be whatever, you know what I'm saying? You could be the WAP, maybe the WAP,
The Wow, yes,
the
the
WAP.
Cabbage Patch, the Running Man.
I was trying to get to LSU or Miami University, play some
All
ball.
right.
Yeah, that's what my mind was. But I'm glad this music dance journey kind of came into play because I would have never imagined traveling to 20 plus countries. You know, especially coming out of South Central. You know, cats don't make it out of the hood. So I was like, yay, I
There
made
you
it.
are. Yes.
Yeah.
So now, when did you start into the musical side of things, performing and playing instruments? Was that something that you learned later on, or had you already had that in your wheelhouse?
It was later on, and it
Okay.
was by default. So I was taking
Again.
I was taking
Okay.
a free vocal class
Hmm.
given by Sarita Wright Mathis. She used to be married to Stevie Wonder,
Hmm.
and she had that song "Born Again." Come
Okay.
bring me your sadness. Da, 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 da. I'm born again.
Yes.
You remember
Okay.
that
That was
one?
your vocal coach. Absolutely. Yes.
And so
Okay.
I
And she
think it
was
was with
married to
Johnny
Stevie
Mathis.
Wonder.
Right. And then I think she was also with Johnny Mathis, if I recall correctly. So she
Okay.
had her and Doc Holliday were the vocal instructors at Locke
So
High
dope.
School. And Tyrese came out of Locke High School. Patrice Rushen is affiliated. Reggie Andrews, he just passed away. He was he was the band teacher or the music director over at Locke High School. So he and Herb Albert put on a free vocal clinic workshop for the
Wow.
students in the area, for the kids in the area. And I made it. I was like, yeah. So I learned different vocal techniques. So one day, uh, the accompaniment didn't show up. So Sarita was like, come on over here. I need you to play and handle this. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because I'd never taken any lessons.
Huh?
She's like, just play the scale. So there I go. And I'm struggling because I don't practice, right? And then she looks at me, she's like, well, why aren't you singing? I'm like, I'm supposed to sing and play?
You
This
got
is
me
all new to me.
multitasking. Yes.
Well, see, again, sports. I didn't pay attention to the Liberace's, the Elton Johns, the Stevie Wonders of the world because I was trying to be like the Jerry Rices and the Tony Dorsetts. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, boom, and then I kind of liked it. And then I got better at singing. I'm like, well, I gotta learn this stuff while I have a chance. I took one theory class, but I got bored. I'm like, this is stupid. And then you're learning songs that have already been written. It kind of stifles your creativity. So you can
Oh,
be good at playing Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, whatever church gospel chords, but making your own is the secret. That's where it should be. And the
mm-hmm.
same way with the guitar, I just picked it up to learn and started writing songs. So my playing level is but my writing is way better than my playing. So
Nice.
that's
That
where we
is
are
such
with
a
that.
talent. I am taking it all in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joining us, we're speaking to Myron Glasper, the ever so talented. He
Oh,
introduced
thank you.
himself because I could not have done that as well. But I mean, from dancing, well, let's say football first. So from football to
Hmm.
dancing and to entertaining
Singing.
in its fullness of that, it's an art. And you are certainly talented and have embraced all of it.
Thank you.
If
Thank you. Thank
you
you.
know, we came in on one of Myron's songs from his album, and it's called On Broadway. And so dope, as well as there's some other tunes that we'll discuss. But now let's talk about you actually fusing you in the musical space with performing. So how did that all come about? You creating an album?
So the album came way later.
Okay.
I was trying to get in like everyone else, you know. I had actually moved from LA to Oakland and I was working with Dwayne Wiggins and Tony. And that only went so far. And then I started working with Tommy and Denny, the guys that wrote, produced In Vogue, Foster
Okay.
and McElroy.
Mhm.
So I said Tommy and Denny. And it was so nice to be in Oakland, being away from LA, from the gang violence, the stuff that goes on everywhere. But then in LA, I got I got caught up in some stuff, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here.
Mm.
So I hung out with Dwayne a little bit. Kimberly Armstrong. Let me back up a little bit. She was the reason why I went to Oakland. Kimberly wrote Your Sweetness for the Good Girls.
Good girls. Shout out to the
Yeah.
good girls.
There they go again. So
Yes.
I met Kim back in the 90s and then didn't even know the Good Girls back then. So it's all coming back around full circle, you know.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So then you went to Oakland, and that's when you were inspired to begin doing music?
Well, I was doing it before, but that was like first time it was ever for real. It was serious. Like, oh wait, that's the guy from 2020. I love that group. Now, I was signed to Sir Jinx, which is Dr. Dre's cousin.
Hmm.
Sir Jinx used to produce for Lynch Mob, Yo Yo. a couple of other people, and that was a production thing, but it didn't go well. And we actually had offers like John Singleton wanted to sign us, Suge Knight wanted to sign us. We were talking to a lady, she was over at Epic. I can't remember her name right, but that was the first real introduction. But I didn't feel free until I got to Oakland.
So
You
was that a group that when you say they wanted to sign you, was that a group you were with?
know,
Okay, what was
the
the name of
group
your
was called
group?
that group was called Inside Out. It was
Okay,
just two of us,
okay.
and
And you were playing instruments and singing as your
no,
as,
just singing,
okay.
just singing. Like I said, my musicianship is not that great. I pluck and strum a little bit, a few chords here and there, and like, oh, I have a melody. Because I learned in songwriting, like the Beatles, most of their songs are 3-chord songs. Broom, broom, broom. And then there's a change. Broom, broom, broom. She loves you, yeah, chicka boom. And they took off, right?
Okay.
So they play better than me, but when I learned that, I was like, oh, I don't need to learn how to play well. Let me just cheat with these three chords.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Help me become familiar with voicing and
Okay.
um, different key structures and a little bit of theory.
Okay, so
So
you apply what you learned from the beginning and to
mhm,
now
mhm,
you're actually
mhm.
doing that. And so you have like a fusion to me. It looks as if you like the jazz take on things, like the setting and then, just kind of your the band and that the performance part of it. So what gave you that influence? I mean, is that Oakland or is that you traveling?
That actually, I know that I started in the gospel choir.
Okay.
I'm kind of skipping around a little bit. That's where I found the voice, but I was still not really pursuing a singing career
Hmm.
because at the time I was a little um, caught in between a rock and a hard place, meaning, do I go out into the world or should I sing for the Lord? So
You're
I
still
didn't like,
singing for the Lord, just so you know.
but people in church will be like, oh, that's secular and
Different.
that's this. But
Yes.
I'll do a song dealing with politics. It's not always about, achy breaky heart, love,
Hmm.
break up to make up or whatever.
Hmm.
I try and do some political things too, so that it balances things out, you know. But I've always been into the politics of music too, because I listen to a lot of Bob Marley, a lot of Marvin Gaye's,
The messaging.
cerebral stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Uh huh.
messaging.
Uh huh.
Yes,
Uh
absolutely. I do as well. That's
huh.
kind of been my interest in music is the lyrics and what you have to say. Not everyone embraces
Hmm.
it from that respect, but when you were saying that you jumping all around, no, you're really just connecting it. You're just interconnecting all the influences that were of whatever part of your life. You're now just kind of blending them back in. It's like making a cake, right? You're just
Hmm.
putting in the
Hmm. Hmm.
ingredients and stirring it up. So now when you say you had the influence from the gospel aspect, who were your influences musically growing up?
See, I didn't have any because I was into sports.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
get into music till after high school.
Okay. And not even then. Now you're working with the best of the best. Well, in between, your vocal coach, amazing, and then everyone thereafter. So at that point, you still hadn't tapped into any musical influences?
Well, that was still after high school, but I would have to say um, Marvin Gaye, of course, Stevie, but then was also like I loved reggae at one point, and it was Bob Marley, it was Gregory Isaacs. Um, Even later, after I came out of the whole roots reggae, because it's kind of too melancholy at times,
Okay.
but the message is so. Um, Marvin, especially because I read his book Divided Soul, and that's when I learned a lot about what he was all about, what he was going through, and
Deep.
stuff he was dealing with,
Yeah.
with his dad and all that stuff. And I was like, oh man, poor guy. You know,
Yeah.
he
So
was.
deep.
If I wanted to meet anyone, it would have been Marvin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Well, he and Stevie. And did you have an opportunity to meet Stevie Wonder?
No,
Oh,
no.
wow.
My sister met. She's met him before, but I never met him.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely one. I love, love, love Stevie. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, well, it's so cool. Now, as you are now stepping into your musical career, what influences are you taking on to create your music?
So I
We're just weaving this thing together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so in my mind, I always like to say I'm all over the place, but you said it. It's all interconnected. So since
Interconnected.
the soul music that I do, they call it sweet soul. There's not much dancing
They call it
involved.
sweet. What is it?
Sweet soul, like the record collectors,
Oh, we lost
the
you. It's broke up just a little bit.
what about now? Can you hear me now? Oh boy.
Second, breaking up just a
How
little bit.
about now?
Okay, there we are.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
I was
All right.
saying
So you
record
say,
collectors, the guys that have paid $5 grand for a vinyl record, they call it sweet soul. And that community is
okay,
alive and well. So um, I like dancing right now. So I'm really into like
okay,
old school house. To be honest with you, when I get to the studio, I
dancing.
just
Okay, there we
whatever comes out. When I get to the
go.
studio,
Okay,
whatever comes out is where I am. I'm not like listening and studying someone. 'Cause I feel like I've listened to so
uh-huh.
much. The stuff is in my head, and it just comes out, you know. But I'm really into
That's
like old
probably the
school
best
house
way
right
to
now.
do it.
Yeah, I'm really into old school house right now,
Okay.
like New York style.
So the energy of your Broadway album was that a mixture of the things that you were interested in, or was it all sweet soul?
Um, that was sweet soul slash northern soul. Now they have all these little categories in the soul realm, but that okay, that album came together like this. I moved back to from Oakland. I went to Arizona, Arizona back to Oakland, and this producer I was supposed to work with stood me up. So I ended up crashing on a friend's couch for 2 3 days. So while I was at his house, it's like, hey man, can you help me record this song? And I'm kind of like the Grinch who
Hmm.
stole Christmas, like, yeah, whatever. This guy's not calling me back. So I go in there and we record a song. I said, do it just like this. Da, 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 da. Follow me. Da, 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 da. So we're singing in unison because I'm really just holding his hand to go in and sing himself. But he can't. He didn't really he didn't really know what to do, how to do it. Anyway, it ended up being one of our first singles, that song. Now I say
Okay.
ours, it
What
was a
was it
Myron
called?
and E Cold Game.
Okay, okay.
And
I did see that. Uh-huh.
it
I
was
did
just a
see it.
track that someone sent. Like, hey, can you guys write to
Uh-huh.
this? Sure, I'll try it. We sent it back. We emailed everything back to the guys in Finland. The video that I sent you where we're in Bristol, that's the band that
Yeah.
wrote the music. So they live in Helsinki, Finland. We flew to Helsinki, Finland, and for 10 days, we just hit it. We just kept recording, writing, recording, because we didn't have enough time. And then I ran out of fuel because I think it's a 9 hour difference. So jet lag was setting in. And I was like, okay, guys, Papa Bear is shutting it down. But there was no influence. It was just right to this. And they liked it, you know. Because I did at one
Yeah.
point as a child. Let me go back. My parents had Temptations records, Stax records, and Aretha Franklin. And even though I wasn't totally into it, I would listen to like, yeah, this is kind of cool. Knowing nothing about
Yeah.
Motown, the Motor City. I was just listening to the songs because the records were there. And I'm like, records in a record player. This is cool. And I like the album covers and stuff, you know. But
Uh-huh.
but then I moved on, you know. I was like, I want to do music. I was like, nope. It's all about that ball
Back
for
to
me.
football. And now
But
look
I
at
have to
you.
tell you something.
So this has been how long? How many years? 25 greater?
Yeah, yeah, you can say that. Yeah, about 25. But my grandmother was class. I have to throw this in there. She was classically trained in piano and guitar. Now, I didn't take any lessons. Now, like I mentioned before, my cousin Pluke from Straight Ahead, she can also sing. So I have a musically inclined family. It was just there, but I was more interested in sports. So it wasn't like I had to struggle and, you know, cut my teeth. It was just like, wait a minute, I can sing. And I
Yeah,
started singing. But I still
I
had to
can
learn
say
technique, um, you know, understanding what you're doing. Because some people can sing and they don't really understand what they're doing. Sound good, but
right.
it's like, so
Yes.
anyway,
So you have Make a Little Love. That's your newest piece. I guess did you do that during the COVID time?
that was right before actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that was right before. And I have to say this, that was the first song I did successfully after my 2017 accident.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm sorry, that was after COVID because I couldn't sing for about 3 or 4 years. I had a blood
From your
clot.
accident. Oh, okay. Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Now, this was a different accident. The first accident was 5 years old, 18, and then another one 5 years ago.
Hmm.
And I fractured my knee, and then it traveled to the clots traveled to my lungs.
Oh no.
So I got better. I was walking and I went to the studio. It's like, okay, time to sing. And it was
God is
not
good.
happening. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, what is the blood clot? So I had to go over the exercises and techniques and voicing all over again. And Make a Little Love was the first song I was able to go in to do successfully without any issues.
That's wonderful. Yes. And
Yeah.
that piece is nice. We actually featured it on the Instagram page, so you guys can check
Oh,
that
thank you.
out on
Right
YouTube.
on.
A
Thank you.
little love.
Look
It's
at
just
you.
I love the vibe, the whole like jazz kind of big band, and
Hmm.
obviously you're fusing some culture with that and the
Hmm.
international
Hmm.
aspect.
Hmm.
So all of
Hmm.
that is art, and all of it just works well, especially if you are creating, more, if you're wanting to bring in a diverse audience, I guess is what I'm saying. It allows for you to do so with that type of setting. So kudos to you. Congratulations to you for that. I think
Thank
that
you.
is
Thank
super
you. Thank
dope.
you. I appreciate it. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
and just learning and reading about your journey and the things that you have done and contributed to the art, to the culture has been super dope. And now please share with us your social media and any new projects that you're working on.
Well, I'm just Myron Glasper on Facebook. And then on Instagram, it's at Myron underscore Glasper, Glasp as in Paul ER. I'm getting ready to start another album probably next year. It'll be the soul music. Like matter of fact, Make a Little Love is what got the people interested. So it's going to be
Oh,
along that vein, and I'm excited about that because that's pretty easy. That's pretty simple for me to do, and there's already a niche market for it, so I don't have to go. You
looking
know,
for your fans.
yeah,
They're there and they're waiting.
they are there.
They are
They are
there and
there.
waiting.
But
So
then,
you
but I'm also,
anticipate the new album coming out when, or the new music coming out when?
oh boy, we're still talking about budgets and stuff. You know,
Okay.
so it's going to take a minute. Yeah, it'll take at least 4 or 5 months. You know, because it's a process. It's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
process. The legal
Absolutely. And I'm sorry,
stuff.
you were going to say some other thing. You were going to say something else. I forgot.
Um, well, I've also worked on different genres of music. So if any of that pops up, I'll let you know about that too. Like I
Yeah,
said,
let
I'm
us
really
know.
into
Who else have you worked with?
um well there's a guy some guy, this is gonna be funny. His name is Mexican Dubweiser, like Budweiser, and he
Okay.
does like electric cumbia. And people are like, why are you doing that? What is that? I said, it's electric cumbia. Cumbia, what's that? So well, cumbia is it's an Afro-Colombian style of music. Had the Africans not been in Colombia, cumbia wouldn't exist. But we don't really know about it because we're so far removed from these things. We're kind of like one trick ponies. We have we go straight to one thing and we stick with it. So there
Hmm.
was a place in Africa called Cumbia, Cumbria, but in Colombia it's Cumbia. And I'm doing songs with him, but I also did like a Mexican disco boogie song. It's called Bad Behavior. And that was one of those things where I got the call to go hang out. Well, not hang out at the studio, but do some work. And they ended up liking it. So you'll always find me doing something obscure, abstract. Like I did a house song called Gravity with a guy named Disco Mechanic is the producer. Awesome guitarist, super producer, one of the most talented people I've ever met. And we were doing shows downtown LA, but the song is called Gravity with Disco Mechanic. So that's straight up house. Like some people
Yeah.
don't like it, but I'm like, that's okay. I just put it in my little repertoire and wait for somebody to come get it.
That's it. That
You
you're
know?
touching all, like you said, all the genres and
Hmm.
making it something more than just one, which obviously is creating the art. And now you can look back at that whole collection and say,
Hmm.
yes, like
Hmm.
I did this, I did that, especially because you love to dance. So it doesn't surprise
Oh
me
yeah.
that you're into house and you're into reggae, because that gives you
Yeah.
that ability to do that
That
whole
freedom. That
freestyle.
freedom.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. You already know. So the Mexican guys, that put me in a situation where I was always going over to Mexico. And then the
That's
song
a good
ended up,
excuse to go.
well, it's hard going over there without chaperones, if you will.
Okay.
Um, because it's a different place.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever been all the way in Mexico City, Guadalajara. I mean, it's you have to be with people that know what's going on.
Right.
So
I've
the
heard
song
that.
I did with him ended up on a Netflix series. It was B-roll, but
Nice.
then we did two versions of it, and both versions ended up in a movie that was pretty big in Mexico. It's called Que Culpa de Niños, and it's Bad Behavior Dance, and then it's Bad Behavior Vintage. And so this just gives me more avenues to travel, more songs to stack,
Right.
and when they get placed on movies or sitcoms or commercials. By the way, I did an Apple commercial. I did an Apple event
Yeah, I saw
2021.
that. Yeah.
And
Congrats
so
on
these
that.
right, so I'm always getting calls like, "Hey man, come over and try this." Okay. And I just go over and it happens,
Yeah.
you know. And these
Yeah.
are friends, so I hate to say it, there's no auditioning, but the world is about building rapport.
Relationships. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And maintaining that.
That's right.
So
That's
So it's
nice.
like I tell people you don't have to be friends, but you should be friendly because you could have just threw away $1 million check because of whatever.
Yeah. And you have to treat people good. So that's reciprocated. The law of attraction, for
There you
sure.
go. There you go.
When you're a
Yep.
good person, it comes back
Yep.
to you. So you never
Mhm.
regret that. And you have had a ride. You've had
Yeah.
definitely, you obviously didn't tap into the football, but now look, the music world has probably maximized or trumps that for the sake of a better description.
Hmm.
That if well, I guess I would ask you, what do you feel about that? Do you still miss football? Do you regret that you didn't go that route? You still miss it. Okay.
I don't regret it, but I do miss it. I do miss
Okay.
it. I don't have the regret because I actually had a couple, well, a friend of mine, a guy that I played with in Pop Warner and played against in high school. He went pro, and then my cousin's cousin went pro for the Dallas Cowboys. The other guy was for the Steelers. And like that level of entertainment and status, it changes people. Not that they act. Or then I have a cousin that plays for the Dallas Mavericks on my mom's side. His name is Spencer Dinwiddie, and it really does take away the essence of a person. I think I might be stepping on some toes, but you have to really be grounded when
And
you
that's
get
in
to that
anything.
level.
That's in
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
You
yeah,
got to
yeah, yeah.
understand who you are
Hmm.
to not
Right.
overwhelm yourself with just what you are. Because some people miss that. That's what you're saying, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
and
that people
uh
take on the what they are. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I do not regret doing music though. Like
Okay, good.
I've had a great time, and it's still going on,
Yeah,
and it's getting ready to start up again. Like
yeah.
this whole thing with Good Girls Reloaded and talking to Cousin Fluke all the time, and just it just feels good. Like I love being around them because it's like, yay! I'm not over in the hood, dodging. I'm over here with the ladies, and sometimes they just start talking crazy, and like I'm not even there. I'm like, I'm over here. Okay, y'all go ahead, continue. You grown. It's
Yes, that's it.
hilarious.
Super dope, super dope. You guys have an amazing energy. It has been great to actually start to learn everything about each individual and just collectively putting it together. So I'm so happy that you were able to come in and weave your part
Mhm,
into this grand story.
mhm.
And of course, we celebrate all of the art, entertainment, of course, and we love the 90s, the golden era, the artists, the music, all the fun stuff. In Living Color, of course, that was like my
Oh
show.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
like
That
my
was
show for
fun.
sure. The
I did two
dancers.
actually. I did
Okay,
my name is I did a my name is Prince skit too. That
you'll
was
have
when
to
Jamie
send that to.
Foxx he had the fake butt out jeans,
I think I do recall. Uh-huh. There you
and
are.
uh yeah, that was pretty funny because I got bagged on by fake. Remember, Faison Love.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I had on some overalls, some coveralls, and I had my hair braided all crazy. This was before Coolio and Iris, and I had my hair braided all crazy. And he's like, "Oh, this dude looks like a gay farmer." And I was like, "A gay farmer? What does a gay farmer look like?" But another thing that happened while I was up at it, Living Color, I saw Jamie Foxx killing it on the piano. I was like, "That's the guy for cracking jokes, right?" This is in my head. I'm like, "He's
Mhm.
playing better than me."
Yeah, yeah,
So I did a
yeah.
skit with him
Talented as
too.
well.
Yep,
Okay.
with Jamie Foxx. My name is
So
Prince on it should be on YouTube. That one was a little more difficult to find at one time, but it may be there now.
yeah, well, post it. You
I'll look
post it
for
on
it.
your page.
I'll
Tag
look
me
for
on
it.
it. I love to see all of that fun stuff. The things that we grew up with, showing our age, but all the things that we grew
That's
up with.
okay.
Oh, it's totally fine now. Ladies
It
and
is.
gentlemen, we have had an awesome time talking with Myron Glasper. I'm so glad that he was able to unveil his career from the start, and you will see and hear more of him coming up. They have some amazing projects that they are putting together, and I'm so excited to see where this journey is going to take you. Absolutely. Once again, please share your social media and we thank you again for your time.
Thank you, V. I appreciate it. I'm Myron Glasper on Facebook and at Myron Glasper, Myron underscore Glasper on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining Champagne and Conversations. Stay with us and we'll take you out.